Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing a spectacular Zenith Pilot Type 20 GMT Middle East limited edition of 50 pieces. The base model debuted in 2013, and this 50-piece limited edition in DLC blackened titanium was sold to the Middle Eastern market in 2016. This is a great example of the kind of fun stuff that Watchbox's Dubai-based office often purchases from regional collectors. A very scarce piece and a very different look for a traditionally styled pilot's watch. It's got a lot to love, and there is a lot of watch to love. This blackened titanium watch is 48 millimeters in diameter, 15.2 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, you can see they're wire style lugs. It is 57.8 millimeters with a 24 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Again, the basic version of this watch debuted back in 2013. Believe it or not, it was considerably smaller than the Montre d'Avenef, which was over 57 millimeters that debuted back in 2012. And the surprise here is that I could actually wear this watch. Though it's a 48, it doesn't wear anything like a big pilot's watch. On paper, the big pilot is well bigger, but here you can see the lugs are so spare that they don't really impinge on the edge of my wrist in a way that's visually offensive. This watch is big. The historical predecessors were big. The look is supposed to be big and outsized, and it is that. So if you like the look of Panerai, that is big by design and oversized by intent, this is exactly that. All in titanium and sapphire, it's very light on the wrist. So if your wrist is my size or larger, 16 centimeters circumference, you're going to find that this is actually quite agreeable. Now, the strap is way more deluxe than you'd expect on a pilot's watch. Typically on a pilot's watch, you get calfskin. Here you get the highest grade cut of large rectangular scale alligator leather. Black gloss. We have a contrasting stitch, which makes it aviator style after all. It uses a sheer cut flank showing you the immense layers of leather. And then on the bottom, you could see that it has a little inlay of rubber so that the oils, sweat, moisture, and heat of the wrist won't wear down the leather over time. It's also super soft on the wrist, so it's a win-win to have that rubber on the bottom. We have a buckle to match. You could see it is in stainless steel. The watch is in titanium, and it has been DLC blackened. Quick note about DLC. Diamond-like carbon is a type of material that can be PVD'd. Physical vapor deposition describes a process. The material, DLC, describes what was actually deposited by the process. So DLC is extremely scratch resistant. You can see that this watch has nary a mark on it despite now being 6 years old. Taking a quick look at the buckle, you can see there's a combination of the polished star and then the satin finished buckle, which makes for a nice, agreeable contrast. Here you can see that although the lugs are designed to look like the welded lugs of a vintage pilot's watch, they're in fact held on by screws. We have a little name plate on the side, or I should say a number plate on the side. It is a limited edition. It's held by two blued screws, fire blued screws, and just as you would have seen individual numbering on bolt-fixed plates on vintage Zenith Pilot's watches, here we have exactly the same thing. This is number 6 of 50. There's a pusher adjuster with a sharp knurling for an easy grip, so you can rapidly adjust that 24-hour format secondary time zone. We have an enormous onion-style crown designed to evoke antiquity. It is a screw down, and although this is a pilot's watch, you'll find it is surprisingly water-resistant down to 100 meters. Now on the dial side, we have a matte black base for the dial. We have satination, silver satination across the hands, which is unexpected and beautiful. Also an anti-glare treatment befitting its pilot's intent. Now we have a combination of black and white, gray and red on this dial, so it's surprisingly animated in spite of being a no-nonsense tool-style watch. Where it departs from that tool aesthetic is that we don't have an instrument-style font here. Instead, we have Eastern Arabic numerals, very popular on Middle Eastern special editions. You can see the archaic nomenclature, Montre d'Avenef, that Zenith was using on its first few years of pilot's watch production in the 2010s. What I like most here is that these Eastern Arabic numerals are actually solid blocks of luminova applied to the dial. These are not printed features. They're not thin. They have length, width, and height. We're going to take a look at that right now. So you can see there is no shortage of luminescence here, and you can really see how those numerals stand proud of the dial. The hands, cathedral style in the finest tradition of aviation. They are beautifully luminescent. And we do have a 12-hour hand and the 24-hour hand. You could set them separately. This is a true dual-time watch. Now, on the reverse side here, we don't have the Blériot monoplane that you'll find on the standard version of this watch. Instead, we have the image of the Wright Flyer with the brothers Wilbur and Orville Wright flying at Kitty Hawk on December 17th, 1903, the first controlled heavier-than-air aviation. They didn't get far. The landmark flight was only 120 feet, and I believe Orville was the man at the control for that flight. But again, this is the Wright Flyer as opposed to the Blériot monoplane, so this has got a different case back than the standard Type 20 GMT. Inside, you have a Zenith Elite caliber 693. It's automatic winding. I believe it's a unidirectional winder. It's definitely got a 50-hour power reserve. You have the independent time zones, 12 and 24 hours. It's a 26 joule movement. It beats weight 8 beats per second. You can see when I pull the crown out, I do stop the seconds hand, so it has hacking seconds, and I can use that if I want to set the watch precisely against a reference time. The Elite was created in 1994. It was the first Zenith movement designed with a computer, and it's roughly equivalent to something like a Girard-Perregaux 3300 or JLC 889 from the same period, a high horology, upscale, ultra-thin automatic movement from a great manufacturer. So reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.